The moment you don't keep your head in the game is the moment that you lose the basketball game. So, Brad, RIP, but this brother got to get home and reset and regulate. Welcome back, y'all, to the DeAndre Way with the Challenge All Stars Episode 7 recap. All Stars Season 4, Episode 7 recap. We diving deep into what's really going down. I am your host, DeAndre. Of course, make sure to subscribe to the DeAndre Way. Episode 7 of the Challenge dropped today. The Challenge All Stars 4 dropped today. It was actually one of the more refreshing episodes in the last couple weeks because we didn't get the repeating Nicole Laurel storyline, which I'm so happy. This is the first episode I think all season we didn't have to deal with that mess. But next week it looks like it's coming back. Ugh. So enjoy this week while I last, y'all. This week it was cool. It was cool. I liked it because we got to talk about some real life stuff. They got to really show the human side, the real human side of some of the players outside of like, oh, I'm fighting for my family and whatnot. But just some other problems that people are really dealing with and why they really need this money. We get more reasons why, and we get a little bit more backstory with some other characters in the group. Um, no brothers and sisters went home this week. That's the first in a while. So I don't know. We'll see how long that lasts. I mean, there's only two left, so there's not much left to pick from. But especially since Leroy was safe, so I guess immunity in that sense. But let's get into it, y'all. Challenge episode 7, All Stars 4. We leave off with coming back from the elimination and Nicole winning and beating Jasmine and Keefla losing to Steve. And so those two have stars now. And they get back to the house, and Veronica's thanking Nicole about switching spots with her and keeping her in the game essentially because the elimination was built for her. Yeah, the elimination was built for Nicole. Production didn't want that storyline to end. They wanted to keep it going. They wanted the love story to not fall off so easily. So they're like, look, Nicole, you can beat either of these two. Go down there, get your star. And yeah, without Nicole there, we wouldn't have our, love story of interest. And the only story that they seem to focus on when I actually found out not hearing this story and seeing what other people are really here for and what they've been going through is far more interesting and humanly relatable than this circus clown show of I guess a relationship that Nicole and Laurel have going on. So, Nicole won her elimination and whatnot, and yes, it was built for her. She wasn't losing to nobody in there except maybe Laurel or Cara. Those are the only two, and they weren't going to be down there. So it was an automatic win, essentially. I'd rather have seen Jasmine versus Veronica. That would have been interesting, but hey, here we are. So Ryan and Adam soon have a conversation, and they talk about how Ryan is 8 months sober. So that's excellent. I'm gonna clap for that. I'm all about people. When they say they want to be sober, they actually gonna be sober, man. It's hard to do. It's not an easy task. I think they said the average time that people go sober is 90 days, and then they have like a relapse per se. That's when the relapse starts. I have a few people I know who actually one of my friends he was he was doing the same thing. We had a long talk about it and whatnot, and it's very tough for people to go through, especially if it's been a regular thing their whole life. But if you keep doing that nonstop, it's going to deteriorate, you know, your insides and definitely keep you from living a long, happy, healthy lifestyle because other things will start being affected, like your mood and maybe weight loss, weight gain, etc. So shouts out to Ryan for being 8 months, almost a year. So that's a big accomplishment. I think if since the show aired, it's probably almost 2 years at this point because the show aired about a year ago. That's excellent. I hope he's still sober. I hope he's still doing well. That's nothing to take light on because it seems like I'm just hoping, a lot of people, they want to do it, but they just can't. They just can't help themselves. They literally can't. That vice is very difficult to overcome. And, especially being that challenge house, he has no vice. And that's forcing him even more so to not even think about, you know, drinking. Well, there is alcohol in there, but he has good people around that to keep him from drinking, keep him from smoking because I'm pretty sure they don't allow weed in there, from vaping, whatever it is, that all this stuff that can keep him fully sober and keep on moving because he said that's the best he's felt. So 100% respect that. I'm all about people getting back to their true self and living life fully and owning it. You know, he's putting it out there and he's coming through. Now I hope he still is. That's all I can say. But I know sobriety is not an easy thing for a lot of people, especially people who have been through an addiction per se and do actively want to be sober. I have a friend who's actually like 7 years sober too. He's an actor and he says he feels the best he's ever felt in his entire life and he's doing great things and whatnot. So definitely shouts out to Ryan for that. Um, and so Brad is giving soon we see Brad and he's giving Brad is giving props on how he was saying Best is his favorite going in. Huh? I think we see Brad and he was he's talked about a little of his struggles in the show, him and Leroy, and how they've been, losing every single challenge, performing horribly. Like I said last week, they're the two favorites in coming in the show, and they look like the two layups. Not looking too good, but they're giving themselves pep talks. Brad, he's like, look, I got to step it up. I got to focus. They're giving some flashbacks on his mess ups and whatnot. And, you know, hopefully it comes back and he can give himself the pep talk to maybe come through. But as we see in this episode, he just might need to get back to the drawing board. I think shaving the beard is a helpful thing. I think that's weighing him down. I think it's distracting for him because every second you see him grabbing it might be his own little vice and whatnot. He won when he didn't have a beard. So I think it's time to go with that. I think it's time to go. It's just all good things must come to an end. And I just don't think it's helping him. But yeah. So then we see Flora, and she says she needs to watch out for she needs to watch out for Ace because he's playing everybody's best friend and he's being Kara's puppet. Now, Flora, Flora got a kind of a lot of nerve to say she's being Kara's puppet because she is pretty much the only one in the game who has her back. And is Shakara not allowed to have friends? Is she not allowed to make alliances? Is she not allowed to find people to help her better her own game? Well, whose puppet are you being? Weren't you Jasmine's quote unquote puppet doing everything she wanted? Things that make you go, We got to look ourselves in the mirror sometimes. And instead of checking other people, we need to check ourselves. Because Flora, last I checked, you haven't won anything this whole season. So you're the last person to be trying to tell somebody what they should and shouldn't be doing when you haven't had power the whole time. So I ain't like all that. I'm down for the trash talk, but just make it make sense. That's all I'm at. Make it make sense. If Flora was like, oh, Kara's been winning all the challenges and like it's been annoying that she's been winning the whole time and I can't beat her and I don't know, throw something. But look, and if you can't, then people just got to learn sometimes. Look, sometimes it's just better nothing said if you can't back it up. Or say it to their face, at least say how you feel to their face. All this back talking and whatnot, it just leaves for a sour taste in my mouth and just questionable thinking in regards to certain people. But hey, she ain't been in the game in a long time, but she mostly won in 2 dailies. So I don't know what to say on that. And I like Flora too. So I don't know where this hate for Kara is coming from. I don't know. I think it's mob mentality because she's jumping on Nicole's bandwagon with Laurel and Jay and all these other people. Not Jay, but just the Nicole Laurel bandwagon of and Cam and Leroy trying to knock down Kara for whatever reason. Insecurity, I don't know. But it's given weird. But yeah, soon we get to the challenge and we find out that the challenge is trivia. So they do trivia challenge pretty much on every single one. And this trivia is basically they're getting in pairs of two. They get questions asked to them. They miss 3 questions. They're out. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't mind trivia. It breaks up the monotony. It lets a team that's a little weaker have a chance to win. It keeps things loose. per se. Keeps people on your toes. It makes what makes kind of the challenge a challenge. So people who hate trivia, it's kind of just like, look, it's what makes the show. It's just a staple. I don't see any big problem with it. The only problem I have with trivia is when the questions don't people don't have the same level of difficulty on the questions as we're about to get into. Because some of these questions was like, bruh, really? Definitely layup questions and saving certain people from the smoke. But we'll get into it. So the first group of teams is Ace and Cara, Brad and Floor, Derek and Tina, Cam and Steve. Nobody wanted to be paired with Brad because they know, ain't much going on upstairs right there. And he's a teacher too. I didn't know he was a teacher, so he should be like on top of it when it comes to spelling and basic knowledge of geography. But I digress. I don't know what state he teaches in. It's probably might be. I think he's teaching in Michigan. So you know, Michigan. I don't know what y'all teaching up there, but hey, look, y'all gotta step it up. But yes, Brad and Floor eventually become the first ones out because Brad couldn't spell authority and maneuver. I don't know how you can't spell authority. Maneuver, I could possibly see how you could mess that up, but it's still not that difficult of words. Those words are very doable. They're not like tricky words and whatnot. So they deserve to lose that. And then Cam and Steve, they're the next two out. I mean, they just missed. Their questions were moderate, and so I ain't gonna give them too much slack on that. But Brad, come on, Brad, you're a teacher, Brad. And now is time for the next. We just skipping through this because it's just trivia. It's time for the next group, and the teams are Veronica and Leroy, Jay and Nicole, Avery and Adam, and Laurel and Ryan. So we get started, and Ryan's Ryan said pairing up with Laurel is like pairing up with the man of his dreams. Now I don't know if he's sneak dissing or giving her a compliment, because I mean Laurel is probably the tallest one on the cast, but and you know she do shoddy swing that way, but I I don't know if that was the right phrase and words he should have said. You talking about a woman at the end of the day. You can't be calling her a man, my friend. I mean, I get y'all might be best friends, and that's just the way you joke and whatnot. But I don't know. That was sounding like he was sneak dissing. But what do I know? Um, but yes, the easiest question was about they had a very easy questions. They were giving certain people very easy questions and certain people impossible questions. And we'll get into some of these questions. So one of the questions was, who was in the last elimination? Really? What are we doing, y'all? What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't get that's the one thing about trivia. It don't make sense. If you're gonna do trivia, ask people. I like the questions about the season. Like, okay, what colors were the stars? What color was the couches? What shapes were this in the house or in this elimination? What shape was this challenge? That's fine and all that's kind of fair and even for the most part. But who was in the last elimination? And then who was asking who? And if they ask questions, who was in certain eliminations? But the last one, TJ or production, whoever giving these questions, the last one, it was just yesterday. Like, how they gonna forget that? That's the easiest one. So I wasn't a fan of certain layup questions, and it seems like it was aimed towards certain people for a certain time frame. But it is what it is. I didn't like it. Just make the questions simple. Make them all pop culture. Make them all sports. Make them all geography. Some all spelling something. But them switching these questions up like that, because some people were just getting layups, and some people was getting dang near questions you would ask Harvard students. I'm like, y'all, this is seem a little fishy. Seem a little fishy. Another question that was given was, what are animals in the big five? And the option, the four they gave, TJ gave them was Ryan, gave Ryan was a buffalo, rhino, elephant, a rhino, buffalo. What was it? It was a buffalo, a rhino, an elephant, something else. And it was to Leroy. I believe this one went to Leroy and Veronica. And They guessed a cheetah, which I'm like, okay, I probably would have guessed that too. But it was a leopard. A leopard. You tell them you here to tell me a leopard is more popular essentially than a cheetah or a gorilla or a snake or I, I don't even know a whale. Yeah, who would possibly know that? I never even heard that in my life. Some of these questions I didn't know, but some of these questions I ain't heard in my life. The big five of mammals. What? So that I didn't like that at all. A leopard. No. So Nicole, and then also a problem with this challenge was Nicole and Jay had arguably the easiest questions overall in the first round than everybody else. So one of their questions was they had to spell the word mission. That's a third grade question. Come on, y'all. What are we doing? Lauren and Ryan was getting screwed over in this challenge because they also had to spell the word Reykjavik, which is the capital of Iceland, I believe. Now, I don't know if you know how to spell this word or have seen this word on a map or something like that, but this word, even if you look at it every day, it could be impossible to know how to spell because the way it's pronounced isn't even close to how it's, I don't even think it's close to how it's spelled. There's silent letters in there. It's an Icelandic word that's in another language, so like it's not even like given fair, to be honest with you. It's just it. Look, y'all, this was never on no spelling test in mine growing up. Spelling this word, we're not asking how to spell the names of capitals of certain countries because the way we enunciate words in the English language and as Americans is a little different than the way someone else would enunciate things, and so therefore, I don't think you should be tested on that. I think they were set up for failure with that one. Luckily, Ryan didn't go into elimination because of this, but if he did, they set this man up for failure. So they obviously get it wrong. Spelled Reykjavik. Never would have got that. So Adam and Avery, they get a question that says, I knew they was going to get this wrong too. This just goes to show you that, there's a show, I think it's on Fox. It's a game show. I don't know what the name of it, but I was watching it one day, and it was people who they picked a category. I think it was the floor. It was the floor because my friend Kwame was on it, who was on Squid Game. Two people go up, and they compete against each other in a certain category. And it could be like famous people, athletes, actors, actresses. And it's funny because all the white people who go up there, if there's a black person that pop up, they don't know who it is. They're like, skip, skip, skip. I mean, it's popular people too. It's not no one. Like I saw Steph Curry. Somebody couldn't get that right. I saw who else was there? I think Jamie Foxx was up there. I think I remember that one. It was some big name people, and I was shook. I think Snoop Dogg, they got that wrong too. Like it was crazy because they had the pictures of them, they couldn't name their name. It was only white people who couldn't remember these people. I'm like, is there that big of a disconnect? That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Not in general, so I'm not speaking generally speaking, but that's just crazy. But it's funny that they gave them this question because that just reminded me of that show. But yes, they asked Adam and Avery to say, they said the question was, who played T'Challa's father in Black Panther? What was the actor's name? And all it takes me is a few seconds to think, okay, T'Challa's father, easy. Forrest Whitaker. That's simple. One of the most popular black actors of all time. It's funny. I know someone, if you're into movies and whatnot. It was another white person I know very, very well. And we were having an argument one day, and he was like, oh, it was about black actresses. And I said, bro, he was trying to tell me who was and wasn't a popular black actress. I was like, bro, because he said Vivica Fox, I'm not familiar with her. She's not that popular. I'm like, bro, you're drunk. Then I said, you don't even know any black actresses like that because you don't watch black TV shows. So how can you tell me who's popular and who's not? And it's a white person too telling me this, by the way, because he listens to black music. Therefore, he thinks he knows a lot. But I was like, whatever. And then I said, bro, do you even know who Angela Bassett is? She's probably, because he was, oh yeah, it was about who's more popular, Angela Bassett or what is her name? Viola Davis. Angela Bassett, because he's like, Viola Davis is the most popular black actress by far. I'm like, well, Angela Bassett. I've never heard of her. I never heard of her. I'm like, what you mean you never heard of Angela Bassett? If you ain't, what? She was a Black Panther too. You seen Black Panther? Oh, that's the only movie she's been in. I was like, bruh, the Michael Jackson American Dream movie, classic. Oh, that doesn't count. It's a movie. It's a movie that's about an artist. I'm like, bruh, you are tripping. If you don't think Angela Bassett is one of the top black actresses, you need to shut up and get out of my face. And that shows a big disconnect because it's a lot of people sometimes who just speak on things that they don't even know about. These white people speaking on black things that they don't even know about, but they just want to speak on it because they think their culture is the only culture sometimes. And that those are the people who just should be known worldwide. I mean, that's just crazy to me. And it's just like such a closed box mentality. Not saying that that is the way that they think, but it just comes across as this like very off-putting because it's very dismissive of other, I'll just say, I'll speak on black people that just because they don't pay attention to them means they're nothing or not or very or less than, which is crazy to me. I mean, I could keep going on, but yeah, it was craziness going. I mean, this little thing kind of triggered me a little bit when they couldn't get it right. I was just like, bro, y'all opened a can of worms in my own head, so I gotta hurry up and move past this. But we'll move on. We'll move on. Yes, they got that question wrong, by the way. They couldn't name them. And soon Laurel and Ryan and Avery and Adam get out, and they're in the bottom group. So, the bottom group for this round is Avery, Adam, and Laurel and Ryan, and Cam and Steve and Brad and Flora. So now it's time for the final round. So Tina and Derek get the question, how many steps does it take to get to the top of the elimination floor? Really? Really? Who writing these questions, y'all? Whoever writing these questions need to be fired. Period. Get out of here. How many steps? Now, it's one thing if something in the house. I get it. You see it every day. But the steps, it's nighttime every time we do an elimination. So you're not even looking or seeing. Some people skip steps when they walk. And that so misleading. Like, come on, y'all. Y'all could have lied about the ants. Like, not that they would because they walk on the next day and they're counting. But it's like, now you want people to count how many tiles are in the kitchen, or how many I don't know, it'd be like also how many sheets are there on your bed, or how many lines are there going across your mattress, or how many saute pans are there in the kitchen? Like just silly stuff. I'm like, you're getting these people too paranoid, and that's why they're not be able to sleep. These people are a little older. Some of them are in this All-Stars house. So y'all need to chill with some of these questions. That was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Another easy question was when TJ said, how many chairs are at the dining room table? And he gave that to believe Nicole and Jay. Well, duh, there was obviously 24 to start out with, like, because there's 24 people. Another layup question. They finally gave them a somewhat difficult question when they said, which video game did Super Mario first appear in? I would have got this wrong. Donkey Kong. I was gonna say like Super Mario World, but I knew it wasn't that. I knew it was like a 2D pixelated game, but I would have blanked too on that one. And then they get another hard question spelling Brai, which I don't even know what that means. Braai. And so they finally even it out because they gave him so many layup questions the first round. They're like, okay, we gotta give him hard questions the second round. And so Cara, Maria, and Ace are the next two out. And Veronica and Leroy at the last round get a very easy question saying, what is pi to the second decimal place? Duh. You learned that a second grade, 3.14. And then Tina and Derek get a super hard question as their last one, saying, how many official languages does South Africa have? These questions, I'm saying, y'all, these questions are not even, and I don't like that. Just make it even, y'all. Just make it somewhat even. This is ridiculous. I mean, come on. I would be pissed off in this whole thing. I would have been throwing a fit. I'm like, Rig. I would just calling Rig. They would have hated me because, nah, coach, this is definitely setting certain people up. And I was not a fan of it at all. Like I said, do trivia, that's fine, but don't switch it up from spelling to geography to easy third grade questions to college questions. Like, come on now, y'all, please. But then Jay and Nicole get out, and the last two groups is Derek. The last two groups is Tina, Derek, and Veronica and Leroy. And Ryan says he wants Derek to win to save him from elimination because he's not ready to go in yet. I mean, Ryan knows what's up. He's the only one who actually was like, I was agreeing with this in this whole part was because there's plenty. They're like, oh, we're gonna run out of time to get a star. We're gonna run out of time to get a star. I was like, you guys, I've never in all the challenge season I've watched, they've never had a season to where if you're at the end and you don't have, except the island, that's the only season, to where if you don't have a star or an item certain quantity or a idol or something like that that you can't go on. That's only been the island, and that was an anomaly of a season. Every single time they get they give everybody a chance to get something. They do. You know, so it's just like, look, y'all, it's the seventh episode, seventh elimination. You think they're gonna end the season after 7 eliminations? I think they're thinking about 10. That's probably what's going on in their head. So they still have a little bit of time, but I don't know why they're just rushing these people into thinking it because literally, if anybody who just volunteers go elimination at this point goes in. So it's like, you know, that's just how it is. People are gonna have to go in regardless. Even if somebody has a star wants to protect it, I mean, if there's only a few people left, they have no choice unless they want to go on elimination to save their own star. But it's gonna get taken either way. But we'll see what happens. But I don't think they're gonna get in that position where people don't qualify because they don't have a star. I just don't. But yes, the last question is for Tina. The last question Tina gets is, what is the largest rainforest in Africa? Now, we didn't get the answer. I'm sure it's the Amazon rainforest, but that's kind of a difficult question because I thought the longest river was the Nile River. It was the Orange River. Some of these, I don't know. Yeah. This was the crazy trivia one, but they get it wrong. Leroy and Veronica win. Leroy gets his first win finally. Ironically, with Veronica, who turned on him in Dirty 30, but it's just funny how things come full circle. But yes, they win. We get back to the house, and everyone's sitting at the dinner table having great times. Ryan says, thank you for everyone to make it easy for him to be sober in the environment he's around. Yes, when you're around the people who are, you know, helping you out, supporting you, you're being communicative with them about, you know, what you're dealing with, not isolating yourself and whatnot. It becomes a lot easier to kind of go through those struggles rather than the latter of, you know, being alone, being around people who are under the influence, who are probably don't have your best interest. They just want you to have a good time and whatnot, regardless of what you're trying to accomplish. And you're being open to them and not isolating. So Ryan is, you know, being open with these people, being, you know, communicative and having community with his other cast members, even if they're competing in the show, because at the end of the day, like they at the end of the day, after everything's said and done, put the game aside, this cast at least seems like they're there for each other to an extent, at least for Ryan, I'll say. If it was Cara Maria trying to be sober, I don't know if they'd be there so much, but besides the point. And yeah, it is nice. You need that, but it's on both parties. It's on the parties that's around you, but it's also on yourself. And so that's kudos to Ryan for putting that onus on himself, and kudos to the cast for being there for him as well. It's a two-way street. So shout out to that. But then things take a turn when Ace starts telling this made-up folklore fairy tale, and he's basically giving like a synopsis on the game, but using medieval themed verbiage about the stories. Like a knight was going down, and he decided to give one of his apples to another knight that didn't do anything. And so he's subliminally calling out people, and he basically said Brad and Adam should go into elimination. That's the destiny. And I'm like, bruh, huh? I mean, it was a joke. Like, I think it was a joke because this dude looked like he could have been drunk as well. But Brad was not taking it as a joke. He was like, player, I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm about to blow some fire in your face for saying my name. So Brad was not pleased with this. I mean, he's a super serious dude, it looked like. So, like, I just think shave the beard, bruh. Just shave the beard. It'll lighten you up. I promise. I promise. It'll do that. I promise. But yeah, he was not happy about it. And, you know, that's what happens with that. Adam essentially volunteers to go into elimination because he wants to get his star. And Ryan says, you know, he's glad he's willing to do that. That's one less person. But he's worried about Tina because she has a vote and she makes everything messy. Well, at least she's making a little bit things more funny to watch. Look, Tina, she's all over the place. I got a soft spot for Tina, but she's all over the place. I will say that, Ryan. You weren't wrong about that, and you gave the most hilarious impersonation. He's like, I was like, Ryan, he was going in on Tina. He cooked her, but yeah, she definitely has not been playing the most game that was that's much desired, I say. But yeah, it's time for the deliberation. And everyone's making, saying who they want. And Adam obviously is going in because he wanted to. And Tina, it's time for her turn to vote. And she doesn't know what to do. So she just basically makes a burn vote. And everyone's just like, bruh, Tina, you got to choose something. She's riding the fence so hard. Boy, her booty cheek about to fall off. So I don't know. She's going to have to make a decision soon. Very soon. I feel it coming. But yes, they decide to vote in Brad and Adam. And apparently the reason Ace didn't vote for Ryan, which I think Ryan, he was smart about doing this. I ain't gonna say, look. I believe him with the sobriety, 100%. But he was playing that sympathy card like he was on his last Yu-Gi-Oh draw, and he had to make his last move at the table before he lost the duel. I mean, he was just throwing it down like, bam, sympathy. Can't be voted in. Automatically wins the duel. If you get the sympathy card, it's like Exodia. So he played it well. I mean, because look, he might have been saying this the whole season, but this is the first episode we're hearing it, so the editing is making it look like that. I believe he was saying it the whole season, but it's just funny how this is like he was just. They showed him, kept piping down the sobriety with the people and how, he wants to be here because of that and it's helping him. And then all of a sudden he gets saved because of that. Not that, but because Ace said, oh, one time Ryan threw him down some snacks and was really nice to him. That's why he ultimately decided to save him. So you mean to tell me all I got to do is throw somebody some snacks and they going to have my back? Like the snapback that I got on. The snack back. It sounds like Disney Plus and too good to be true. I think there's some stuff that we ain't know what's going on. There's no way that this dude just threw him some snacks when he wasn't feeling good and asked him, like, are you doing okay? And that's all it took. When he's known Brad for 20 years. He's done challenges with Brad before. To my knowledge, Ace has never done a challenge with Ryan. Ever. Now, Ryan hasn't done a challenge in a long time either, but they never crossed over, I believe. Ace was like early, and Ryan was kind of like the mids. So I don't know. I don't know. That's very, very interesting, to say the least. Very interesting. I want to know what's really going down. But, hey, that's what happened. We get the elimination, and we get the elimination that we missed out on, basically, with Tina and Janelle, and it's called Cheat Codes, and it's basically a video game elimination to where you got to memorize these codes on this board. So on the left side of the board, you got a green arrow, up, left, down, right. On the right side, you got the red arrow, up, left, down, right, and you got the enter and the continue, I believe. The enter and the continue, or it's enter and something else in the middle. And on the map, it's very self-explanatory. There's, I believe, 6 rows. 6 rows up, 6 rows down. So there's 36. If I'm mistaken, I could be off 1 or 2. But there's about 36 or 42. I believe there's maybe 42. Maybe 42. But it goes basically enter. Up green, right green, down red, down red. Up green, down red, down red. Or See, I'm already messing it up. Up green, up red, down red, down red, or whatever. I'm just making it up right now. But that's basically what it was. I think the best strategy for this was just to repeat it. My thing would have been is okay, if I seen up green, up red, down red, right red, up green, up red, down red, right red, up green, up red, down red, right red, up green, up red, down red, right red. I probably would have been 5 or 6. I wouldn't have went more than 6. 6 would have been the most. Up green, up red, down red, up left. Repeated that 5, 6 times before I left, and then kept going, and then just followed with that. Now what Steve, now Brad, I think he tried it. Brad, I don't know what the hell he was doing. He was pressing enter multiple times. He was starting. Look, he was lost in the sauce. He should have went one at a time, just to hopefully he didn't gas out. But Steve, he was going really slow, methodically. Not Steve, Adam, going really slow, methodically, going through the whole 9 as you should. And he knew the thing is going into this, we all know Brad cracks under pressure. So he was the worst person to do this kind of game that required any kind of thinking. So we all knew what time it was with that. They kind of flossed over this elimination real quick. It was not even probably a competition. I wish I could see like the results of like how many times he started over. But yeah, this was a very simple one. If you actually played Grand Theft Auto growing up, or I played Tomb Raider where you had to press different cheat codes and whatnot and have them memorized, or even on a piece of paper and we written them down and you had to get them down because if you didn't want to pull out the piece of paper every single time, you wanted to get these codes in the game to get what you wanted to do. So you had to memorize them. And yeah, Adam took care of business, real light work, wasn't much competition. He blew him out the water and he took care of business, no problem, no sweat. And so, with that being said, Adam steals Ace's star, and Ace seems fine about it. And he's like, "All right, that's fine." Ace is just there to have a good time. He was out on All Stars 1 or 2 for first, so he just wants to enjoy his time. I think, like he wants to win, but he's just enjoying being there. I think, which is fine. I think that's fine as well. You know, let people do what they want to do. I mean, I want to see people compete and win, which he won. He's been winning and doing well, but he's just mellow fellow. But yes, y'all, that was the end of episode 7. We are over halfway done with the season. I think we have like 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 episodes left. 5 episodes left. We will be done in about a month. Wow. But yeah, y'all, that's it. We getting back to the movie reviews soon, so I appreciate y'all. We got some other exciting things coming this summer. I'm trying to finish catching up with the May. This year's been crazy, y'all. I mean, from the beginning of the year, with the going to the football games, at the vlogs, the movie reviews we started, the NFL draft, the WNBA draft, covering the trust, um, going to the Big 12 basketball championship, covering the Knicks games, all these things that I've been going to. It's been a lot. It's been a lot, but we getting it done, y'all. We finishing the draft stuff up with the content. Make sure to check that out if you like football and sports. It's on the shorts as well. But we got some good stuff. June's coming to a close. I've been lacking sleep because of these basketball games. Been going on till 1:30 in the morning, so it wearing me out. But hey, somebody got to watch the game. So appreciate y'all for hanging in there. We'll see you next week for episode 8. We on the downhill slope. And till next time, y'all, peace and blessings, and have a wonderful rest of your day.